Welcome to another episode of Crypto Capsule Commentary, where I answer some of the questions I get from all of you around the world every week. Hope you're ready, because here we go. This episode is brought to you by Crypto.com, where you can buy Bitcoin and over 100 other cryptocurrencies with over 20 different fiat currencies. New users can enjoy 0% credit debit card fees on all crypto purchases made in the first 30 days. Check out the link above to download the Crypto.com app. Okay, the first question is from Danish from Doha in Qatar. Henri, what is the biggest risk you are seeing in DeFi today? It's a very good question, Danish. There's a couple of things I think from a DeFi perspective. First, I think there's a regular risk of DeFi, mainly smart contract risk. I think with anybody trading on DeFi platform, you don't have counterparty risk like in traditional finance, but you have smart contract risk. And I think, as I mentioned separately, I think especially with what's happened with the recent $600 million hack that happened, I think we're going to see an emphasis on making sure these DeFi platforms have had independent smart contract audits, and there's a bit more governance around that. I think but that's a risk that actually is inherent to DeFi. The risk that I'm actually watching even more closely now is what I call regulatory risk for DeFi. As you know, recently there's been a lot of regulatory initiatives, the travel rule, FATF, where they try to put in DeFi within the scope of some of these regulatory monitoring. I think that there's a couple of challenges there. One of them is actually very difficult to regulate DeFi. I mean, practically speaking, it's a massive challenge. So how a regulator is going to try to regulate that is going to be very interesting to watch, especially that as some countries are banning retail crypto trading with centralized exchanges, like Hong Kong is a good example, we may see a flow activity move to DeFi platforms. So there'll be even more emphasis and focus from regulators. Second is actually the illicit activities. Today, frankly, you have to be a stupid criminal if you go and trade on a centralized exchanges. KYC, AML, counterterrorism financing, and traceability tools are very, very advanced. And I think this is why I expect to see more illicit activity move to DeFi, and that may again bring a bit more attention on that. So I think these are some of the things that I'm watching, but I remain again very, very optimistic on the future of DeFi. I think it's for the first time allows us to have a first principles approach to the future of financial services. So I'm very, very excited about DeFi. So thank you very much for your question, Danish. Number two question is from Sid from Vancouver, Canada. Henri, I'm hearing a lot of hedge funds are having difficulties entering the crypto space. What are some of the practical challenges you're seeing hedge funds have as they enter the crypto space? Okay, first of all, very good question. I think there's obviously a lot of the large hedge funds are already into the crypto space. And for example, a recent report that was done found that over 40% of hedge funds are either already in crypto or they're planning on entering the crypto space. And I expect this percentage to increase over the next couple of months and years. There's some practical challenges that are expected. For example, finding talent. As you know, it's very difficult to find people who understand crypto, who understand the hedge fund industry. That's one big problem. Second is even education. And investor education, not only of the people at the hedge fund, but also the LPs, the investors, try to get them comfortable with that asset class as well. And these are some of the practical challenges. But I would say there's some that are really more unique. For example, one of them biggest challenges right now is finding a fund administrator that can actually strike a NAV, net asset value, on, let's say, a Bitcoin derivatives. It's easy to strike a NAV on Bitcoin, but then any more complicated products, very, very few fund administrators are able to do that. And that is a big challenge for any institutional hedge fund. Second is finding an auditor. Trying to find a big four auditor who can audit a crypto fund is a challenge. It doesn't happen in a couple of weeks. It's a couple month process. And it's also quite pricey as well, let's face it. And this is becoming a problem for a lot of the crypto hedge funds that are launching from that perspective. Number three is actually a very unique problem, is actually a lack of institutional grade trading systems. Thankfully now we have a couple of them that are coming in the market, but in the traditional hedge fund industry, we have what we call PMS, OMS, EMS, execution management systems, order management system, portfolio management systems that are very, very developed. That is something that is just starting right now in the crypto hedge fund space. So this is some of the practical challenges that we're seeing. Again, all of this will change over the next couple of months and years. To put things in perspective, as of December 31st of last year, of 2020, the total AUM of the crypto hedge fund industry was $3.8 billion. That's nothing. The total hedge fund industry is almost $4 trillion right now. So there's a lot of upside coming up over the next couple of months from that perspective. So definitely an area I'm watching very closely. Thank you very much, Sid, for your question. And the last question today is from an anonymous follower from India, actually. Henri, I've been following you for many months, and I know that you warned your followers about scams in the crypto space. I recently heard that there's increasing number of scams in the crypto space. Is that a trend that you're seeing as well? Very good question. And unfortunately, the answer is yes. We are seeing more and more scams in the crypto space. And there's really three kinds of scams that I see quite a lot. First of all is actually what I call with dodgy exchanges. Before, please, any of you around the world, you send your money to crypto exchange, do some basic due diligence. Try to find out who the founders are, what's their background. Do some Google search on this exchange to find out if there's any bad press around this exchange. Unfortunately, what I see a lot of them, the most common tactic that I see from these dodgy exchanges, I call it tax fraud. They'll tell you when you send money, you think you bought some crypto. When you want to withdraw your money, they tell you, oh, that's great, but first you need to prepay your taxes. That is a scam. Do not send money to prepay your taxes. Taxes are your personal problem. It's not the problem of your crypto exchange. That is probably the most common scam that I see in the market today. So please be careful on that. Second thing actually is the scam, what I called the dodgy exchange. You just got acquired. So what happens, you'll get an email from a new crypto exchange and tell you, hey, please, can you download this app? We need to get access to your systems. These apps, you have to be very careful, give you access to your laptop. And then once you have access to your laptop, they're able to do a lot of other illegal stuff. So that's the second big scam that I see. Please be careful. And number three, and this is a scam I'm seeing a lot recently, especially in emerging markets. Africa, Latin America, parts of Asia is a typical Ponzi scheme. If anybody tells you that you can deposit your money and you'll get a crazy yield on it, that should be a red flag. There's a lot of crypto lending platforms out there. Again, some of them are very legitimate. Unfortunately, others are complete scams. So please, guys, be careful. And especially some of these new coins, they allow you to mine. And you deposit your money, you take it out in 3 months, 6 months at double the rate. Please be careful. Like any other industry, there's a lot of people building the future of finance when it comes to crypto. Unfortunately, we have some bad apples that are trying to take advantage of many of the users on it. So please be careful. Guys, hope that was useful. And thank you very much for being another episode of Crypto Capsule Commentary. If you have any questions you want me to answer, feel free to ask them in the comment section below or send me a direct personal message on LinkedIn or Twitter. And I promise you, I will get back to it pretty soon. Thank you very much, everybody, and see you all soon.